You're such a big-time guy. 3 sponsors. Ay, ay, ay. It's so much. It's such a mouthful.
I should come into can I come into the studio one of these times and do a whole hour?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right, let's do.
We'll let you in the studio. We won't let Arcand in here. We'll let you in the studio. That's
nice.
That's for sure. So, Tom, we've been talking about this the last couple of days. Bill Belichick, it's now been confirmed by the Patriots, unless they've changed their tune on this. He's not at the Combine. Should he be at the Combine?
Of course he should be at the Combine. Of course he should be at the Combine. I mean, you're kicking the tires on the future of your team in terms of draft picks. You have, I think, a dozen of them. All of these players are going to be coming in at the final 2 years of Mac Jones' very favorable rookie contract. So, yeah, it's important, unless, Bill has divested himself so thoroughly of, he's delegated so thoroughly and so well that Mac Groh's got it. I mean, of course he's going to look at every player, and he was at the Shrine Bowl, and he kicked tires on all those kids. But, to me, it's important to be there, I would think, at ground zero. It has been in the past. Why is it not in 2023? I don't know.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, Tom, is there any, I guess, conclusions that we can draw from him not being there in terms of the importance of the draft this year versus maybe free agency or the trade market?
I can't imagine that there would be any less importance to this one. They're drafting 14th. It's the highest they've drafted since they took Gerard Mayo at 10 in 2009. 8. So it's important. It's important, especially in the context of what did you get from the last 3 drafts? Pretty good relative to the previous 7, but still you're trying to build a core to your team. I was looking this week at just the defensive line, for instance, right? Pretty good. Good edge guys, good interior guys, solid. Almost every single one of them. Barmore, Judon, Uche's up this year, but Barmore, Judon, Guy, Wise, all of them are up in 2024. So if you're going to re-equip an area that is going to be in need by the 2025 season, you want to have the best you can have. Again, I'm sure that Bill will be up to date on every single player, but for appearances and for just simply getting your sleeves rolled up, it seems like it's been important in the past.
Tommy, the thought around the team over the last 2 years anyway around this time is that they've gotten better at drafting, that from the Mac Jones draft on to last year, some of those things have been corrected. Would you characterize the current crew that's doing that? Would you characterize it that way with sort of hindsight with these last 2 years here of how those players have progressed?
Yeah, I think it's been better. The initial reaction to Kyle Duggar from Lenoir-Rhyne was, what are we doing? Second-round pick spent on a kid who's 24 years old, and he's a borderline Pro Bowl player. He showed up and impressed almost right away. So good. Cole Strange, he'll be able to play certainly through his rookie contract and beyond. I don't think he's a total disaster. Needs to have a little more protein shakes, I think, this offseason. Tyquan Thornton, there's upside to him. Barmore was a hit. Mac Jones, Adam, was a hit.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, but go ahead.
But they've done a good job. Look at guys like Mike Onwenu. That's a hit. It's a 6th-round pick. You got a guy who's a Pro Football Focus favorite every year. So they have done a good job in their drafting. God knows they needed to.
We're talking to Tommy Curran, as we do each and every Thursday here on Jones and Mego with Arcand. Tom, the NFLPA released a survey, a report card yesterday, grading all the organizations throughout the NFL and really the owners on how they treat their players. The Patriots did not fare very well. A lot of complaints about the facilities. I know they're upgrading the lighthouse and the scoreboard and everything else. Are there plans to upgrade the facilities? Because the players apparently hate it.
They need a new rug. Mego, you've been down there. You've seen that rug.
It's grody.
In that locker room.
It's grody.
They need a new rug.
Room raiders.
Bad. So those are things that I look at. I'm like, man, this is a beautiful locker room, circa 2005, but there is updating that needs to be done. What I think is interesting is the outgrowth and the fallout from something like that. If you're a free agent and you're looking around the NFL beginning March 15th and making your decisions, you have to look at all those things. What are the facilities like? What do players who are in that organization, how do they feel about the facilities and the accommodations and the way, things like families are accommodated during games? And that enters into it. Something else that enters into it, and I spoke today to Mike McCann and former NFL player Pete Kendall for my podcast about the tax rate in Massachusetts. It's become more and more important, I think, for players as they become more and more affluent and savvy in understanding just how the taxes enter into things. Like Tyreek Hill acknowledged last year that he was on the cusp of going to the Jets, but the tax rate there was exorbitant compared to Miami. And he said, I had to make a grown-up decision, good for him, and go to Miami. In New England now, in Massachusetts now, it's now 9% thanks to the millionaire tax that went into effect on January 1st. So there's a significant outlay of money for a player who might sign that big free agent deal here.
Had you heard any of these complaints from players? Like, you've been around the team for a while. Had you heard any of these criticisms or complaints about facilities, how the Patriots take care of families? Like, had any of this trickled back to you?
No, honestly hadn't, Adam. Nope, not a peep. But I have observed it on my own. I mean, if you walk through the bowels of Gillette Stadium, it looks like a 23-year-old facility. Doors are chipped and messed and everything else. It's an old joint. It's getting old. And I would never accuse the Crafts of not trying to accommodate their players in a very public way. They're one of the first teams, I think, to have a private plane. I think that they extend themselves pretty well. But if the players say it ain't up to snuff, then you have to look at it and not just sit there and say, what a bunch of ingrates. You have to interrogate what do we do and what can we do better. So that'll be interesting to watch because it is a huge factor for players. And it was interesting to hear, it actually puts in a different light, doesn't it? The Taj Mahal comments from Belichick with that. And I didn't think he was trying to give the Crafts the business on it. I just thought he was making an observation. But maybe in hindsight, maybe he kind of was.
Well, it matters to coaches too a little bit, right? Just being in your surroundings.
Yeah, it's how you drag people in. It's how you accommodate players. I mean, Belichick is huge on the training, Mego. So in the facilities.
Hey, he gets in that weight room. We've seen him walk out of there before with gloves on.
You don't get texts like that just by sitting around.
Julian Edelman says he doesn't even go in there with gloves on. He's in the buff in the hot tub is what Julian Edelman said about him. Yeah.
Tom, really quick, since you brought up free agency. Your good friend Mike Reese, he had a valuation for Jacoby Myers that was somewhere between 16 and 20 million a year based on what other free agent wide receivers have gotten recently with a similar level of production. Is that a number that you could see the Patriots going for, or does it look like we're going to be saying bye-bye?
I don't think anybody in the league is going to go to that level for him. I really don't. I think that he is going to be looked at the same way perhaps Devin McCourty or Willie McGinnis or any other number of David Andrews, any other number of Patriots free agents have been looked at around the league. Great. He executes there. He's wonderful there. He doesn't fit the suit for us. As such, the Patriots are going to say to him, find what's out there, then come on back and let us know, and we'll see what we can do. But they're not going to bid first, I would imagine. So to me, Jacoby Myers, look, Nelson Aguilar got 11 a year for 2 years. He's got to come in over that. Has to. Because he's going to catch 70 balls for 800 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that's worth something. But I can't imagine there's going to be teams lining up to sign a guy who is a very productive but still limited run-after-catch, red zone player. He is. He's good. But he's just not a 16 to 20 game changer.
No, he certainly hasn't been that. Look, if he's not going to get that number, great. Maybe he's back. But if he's looking at that kind of market, I think he's a goner for sure. He's Tommy Curran, NBC Sports Boston. Check out his work there. He joins us, as all our guests, on the Harbor One Hotline. Tom, thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.